All right, it is all culminating into this, the super long day that today has been, our final series of the night as we get ready to see them duke it out one more time. I know all of you are hoping for a full best of 5. I know I am too. Even as late as it goes, I think we want to see the absolute best that we can get from them. So excited to see what these guys are going to bring out. This is the final stretch. Who mentally wants it the most? Who's willing to do what it takes to win it? This is the question, as we are getting Melio and Lulu hitting the ban board for Big Bird. Momentum going to take away Darius, Zaheen, and likely to see that Mbessa also hit the ban board as well. Big Bird Club also, I think, talked about potentially trying to ban away or take away the Zyra. That is not going to hit the ban board as of yet. But keep in mind that it was something that they were very outspoken that they did not want to play against again. As rather than the Mbessa, it's going to be the Skarner this time around. What does Big Bird want to open up with? They're going to select, or at least hover the Nami for now. They've been a big fan of the Nami and how it pairs with a number of the ADCs that they like to play. Specifically, they like to pair it with the Corki quite a bit. But there's a number of other options that they can pair it with. Momentum. What do they want to pick away here? What is their desire? How do they want to win this game? What do they want to give their team members? How do they want to win? It's a question I'm sure all of you have been wondering. It's what I've been wondering. Seraphine Udyr, sorry, distracted, trying to respond to a couple different messages. Alright, so Seraphine Udyr going to be hitting the selection board for Momentum. I definitely like seeing the Udyr angle. It's a great mix between a champion that does quite a bit of damage, but has CC, very mobile across the map, great at taking objectives, great at team fighting. And I think it's interesting that we haven't seen it picked prior to now. So happy to see someone finally picking that up and giving it the little bit of pick respect it deserves. And there is the previously mentioned Corki, Nami Corki, that staple Big Bird Club bot lane duo. We haven't seen that Corki go anywhere else. It would surprise me greatly if it did actually go anywhere else. So fully expected to go down there. What do they want to round this out with? They could pick a jungler here, something that could counter the Udyr or at least complement it. And Jarvan is going to be their pick. They want to try and potentially capitalize on any immobile selections that Momentum might make champion-wise. And I think now for Momentum, I don't think you risk anything by picking a bot laner. The Jarvan has already revealed itself, so you could, in theory, respond in kind. And Sever, I think, going to be a great selection there. So a little bit of mobility and the opportunity to escape the Jarvan, get away from it. Also great team fighting synergy, works well with the Seraphine and helps sets up the Udyr. A lot of damage there as well, and plenty of scaling. As we get into the second round of bans. No top laner yet picked for Big Bird, so Memento could look to pinch that a little bit further. Mordekaiser's going to be taken off. We'll expect something like the Ambessa or the Gnar, or perhaps a Scion taken off and force Big Bird on something a little bit more risky. Asol is going to be denied away from Momentum, however. They don't want, I think, any chance to have that Scaling Dragon. I think we've seen Asol do fairly well throughout the entirety of this tournament. It hasn't necessarily won all the time, but it has been a fairly effective mid lane pick. So anything that they can do to limit that capability. Is Syndra going to be the pick away there? They don't want to face that. And Momentum means that they won't have to worry about it, at least for this game. Well, the final ban B, it's going to be the Ornn takeaway. Trying to limit some of that scaling threat that Momentum can potentially draft for. This does mean that several options are available. The Gnar is still available, Scion as well. And they are going to be locked in there. For Big Bird, this is where you lay all your cards on the table for this specific draft. They need a little bit more tankiness, and they want some more damage as well. They don't necessarily rely solely on the Corki, so I expect them to pick a little bit of magic damage here, obviously with the mid-lane pick. Victor is still available, as is Rise. Twisted Fate would potentially give them some more options. Galio, if they wanted to go a little bit more of the tanky route. And Vex, a champion we have not seen all day, finally entering the selection pool. And we're next to get around out the draft for them, so indexing into some more damage, some more team fighting. I definitely liked how they've rounded that out. Some very reliable damage. Vex's cooldowns are a little bit long for my taste, especially in the beginning. So, and especially in the Ahri fight, they could be a little bit challenged there trying to fight momentum in that mid lane. But Vex also still a great team fighting champion and long range engager. Momentum. They're going to pick a top laner here. What do they want to go with? Scion, I think, would be a great pick as a scaling option, but no! They're going to go straight into the Vayne. They want to take that Vayne-Renekton matchup that they had talked about a little bit, something that Black Mage and I had commented on earlier in the day. A full best of 5 might potentially be in store, or maybe one team's so tired that it's a full best of 3, but either way, we're on to the Rift.
To Summoner's Rift. Minions have spawned.
Setting up early brush there for BBC. They want to see if they can catch anybody coming their way. Just be conservative about it. Momentum, though, spreading out their early control and placing fairly defensive wards. I think they just want to make sure that no one tries to go in there and invade the Udyr, who does really kind of want to get those full clear of the camps the most and is kind of reliant on getting that blue buff once he goes down to the bot side, so definitely want to avoid having that stolen away. So fairly defensive wardings there just throughout the river, fairly standard. Invade's less common these days, though, just because of the changes that Riot has made. I know a lot of junglers have talked about that. Some of them had some different philosophies, like, well, you know, maybe there's an opportunity depending on what champion you're playing and, you know, if there's any kind of early level shenanigans, but I think most of them just content to kind of acknowledge that the invades are very difficult to pull off now, and especially with the emphasis, too, placed on trying to get that early level 6, it forces junglers to really cycle through those first couple of camps, those first spawns of camps very quickly, and to not get caught trying to do crabs. And you'll notice, too, they're inverted jungling, so naturally what's going to happen is Udyr and Jarvan should just kind of miss each other. Unless one of them spots an opportunity for an early gank, they'll just kind of go to the opposite sides of the map, pick up separate scuttle crabs, go through the second spawn of their camps, and then potentially look for a neutral objective, possibly the early grubs or an early dragon, but that'll be totally dependent on how these individual lane matchups go. And speaking of lane matchups, Torres getting burst out there on the Ahri, Sifil wasting no time in getting aggressive. That longer range damage that Vex gives too. Like, Ahri does have nice range with her Q, but Vex, it takes that to an even larger degree, especially with the AoE that she offers. Yeah. Oh, flash forward, that's the fear. Ignite. Sifil, if you could land one more Q, that would have done it. But that does force out the defensive flash from Torres as well, so he's going to be missing that summoner. Wasn't able to land it in Knight of his own, and now he's going to have to go potentially back to base if he gets hit again. Needs to be very, very careful, though, because one short 2-button combo for Sifil could burst him down. And no pot, so it won't be able to passively regen in that lane anymore. Yeah, is just going to go ahead and complete the back. Brojo, who is Joe, but Brojo just going to kind of hover up the wave a little bit there, kind of get that free passive XP. Is Black Mage doing a fairly good job in playing the footsie game with Inbred Loser, who is just going to dash on out of there, doesn't want to get any additional Qs. And Jarvan made his way up at this top side, going to go ahead and secure the easy scuttle. Should look to throw a gank towards this mid lane, knowing that Ahri has no flash, does have Ignite, ping's coming down. This will depend on how aggressively Torres positions, but should know on timing that Jarvan should be in the area. Interesting that they're pinging up to try and potentially make a play on this Vayne. I don't think it's likely they'll be able to do anything. Vayne's still fairly even health. This is going to be a long wraparound. There's no Krugs available there, so he's just going to have to back. Wants to see maybe he can bait Black Mage forward. Flash for flash. Gets underneath the turret. Wants to see if he can bait him forward even a little bit more. You got to make a decision, though, whether or not you're going to make a play for it. It's two ganks happening at the same time. Sifil possibly going to go down here. Not going to be able to use the flash. Is ignited. First blood goes over to Torres. And recompense for the amount of damage that he had to take. Fantastic gank from Brojo. Relieving some of the pressure there in the mid lane. Meanwhile, on that top side, though, not able to trade on to Black Mage, who was fairly cognizant. Double wards there, so this will have a little bit of vision as Brojo comes up there and clears his camps. But yeah, no return gank, no return kills. Going to be feeling pretty good. Did have to blow the flash and the ghost to get out of there. But those will be up not too long, and it'll be maybe possibly a little bit more difficult to flash on. Inbred's not going to get a second chance to do that before level 6, just because of the timing of the flash. So maybe able to land the Ignite passively if he's able to get close with Slice and Dice, but really, realistically speaking, Black Mage not super concerned about that trade. Other than the one kill in the mid lane, fairly uneventful so far, just trading back and forth of the minions. And I think you'll expect this for several minutes until there's really a juicy opportunity for either jungler to come towards this bot side. I mean, both junglers really have the ability to take an early dragon. It's just trying to figure out when is the best timing to do that, especially on damage timers or on backing timers when abilities start to come up. As Taurus will soon start to tick over to level 6, and that'll be an opportunity to perhaps make the play for the dragon. Neither jungler is posturing like they want to head down there necessarily right now. They both may just be hard committing to try and get to level 6, other than the one gank that did happen from Brojo. Bubble, gonna land. Not too much more than that. In this topside matchup, this is going to be really important for momentum. They're gambling a lot here. This Black Mage wanted to poke the Crocodile with a stick a little bit more, but he's going to slice and dice his way out of there. Black Mage doing a really good job holding the wave kind of hostage in that weird, awkward spot for Inbred where he can't really get to it too easily. He's going to land the stun, though, and want to get out of there. Don't want to take too extended a trade with a Vayne. Check. So second scuttle going to go down. A little bit more passive vision. Jarvan potentially looking to stop. The back is going to egress over. CFL and Save the Fishes. Do they want to try and go down there and potentially move this Udyr off of the dragon? Yeah, they're going to call it off. And just even the threatening to rotate between the Jarvan and the Vex was enough. Black Mage, is he going to tick over from this Ignite? No, not going to die from it, but is going to have to back all the way off and won't have teleport to get up there. So this is going to be a long, lonely walk. Inbred won't be able to get the second plate, though, before the minion dies, so he'll have to kind of just wait for another opportunity. Hasn't popped the Dominus either, so if he wanted to, he really could have pursued underneath that turret, got the passive move speed, but I don't think he had Slice and Dice up, so probably felt he wasn't going to be able to get in range. So that's probably the only reason that that kill didn't go down. Save the Fishes on the spawn side, going to pick up the first dragon, Ocean Drake. Pretty nice to pick up. Next one's going to be Infernal. You should see what the Dragon Soul. I feel like certain Dragon Souls encourage different types of gameplay, even though in leagues like this, like people are just going to fight no matter what. I feel like if you have an Ocean Soul or an Infernal, you're way more willing to trade just because of either the passive regeneration you get or the passive damage you get just makes it more fun. And obviously having that early dragon stacking as well for BBC is going to feel good too. It's been a 50-50 mix whether or not they've been able to get that going through some of their series. But getting it started early now. The good thing is with that timing too is like with Save the Fishes, if he can kind of get through this clear of his bot side, he can go ahead and reset and make his way towards the top and then potentially make a play for the grubs. Especially since on timing, Brojo shouldn't really be there. He should be wanting to go clear his bottom jungle's camps, but again, what they should want to do and what they actually do, two separate things, and already pinging on vision, perhaps trying to move into that river to get a little bit of vision on anybody that might try and start that objective, got to clear out the ward. So at least knows that someone's been through here recently. Siful and Chicken Thuggy, though, they're here. Thuggy has level 6. That's going to be passive skill abilities. Jump forward, Siful ignited. Damage going to be a little bit missing. Jump forward, not able to get it. A little bit of a passive shield, but now they're going to turn race around on Taurus. Flash brings him to safety. Now the ping's going down on top of the Herald. Black Mage here, but a little too late. 4 strong on the top side. This should just be the neutral objective going over to BBC. Great play, a lot invested to try and knock down the Udyr. They didn't end up getting him, but got so much of his health bar and forced him to use all of his abilities and his summoners where there was really no chance he's going to be able to turn this around. So yeah, easy investment for BBC. It cost them a little bit of their abilities, cost them some time, but the reward is the grubs, and they're going to feel fantastic about that. And already you're kind of seeing the difference in how these two teams are playing, because in some of the series, like, they've been way more bloody, way more active, and both teams, I think, living up to exactly what they've, purported in interviews and even pregame stuff, where it's like, hey, we want to take this seriously, we want to give this the absolute best that we can. And so, definitely starting to show it right now. This is, even just in this first game, it's way more disciplined than some of the other games that we've seen. And of course, every game starts that way. Everyone's got a great plan, like, yes, I'm going to follow all the rules of League, and I'm going to do everything right, and I'm not going to miss any CS, and I'm going to land all my abilities, I'm going to make smart calls. And then by the time you get to game 3, it's like, you're lucky I don't run this down at a turret. Regardless, fairly bloodless so far. No one's really died yet. And I think both teams reticent to make an over-aggressive play and invest too much, just because both teams have shown the ability to flip a game on its head at a moment's notice. And I respect teams that have that capability and that really enjoy doing that. And that's been one of the nice parts about casting this tournament, is just seeing the different play styles, but how everyone is just absolutely played to win with really only a couple different exceptions. And respect to both teams getting this far, and respect to all the teams even for being able to put this together. Ooh, the fear and the charm negates out. Torres, flash drag, that's the Cataclysm, but Torres has the ult and will just dash his happy rear end on out of there. So not the worst for wear. Didn't have flash to burn too, so if didn't have the ultimate, he would have been in a lot of trouble. But all these teams that have competed in this tournament, they've done, I mean, spectacular. Oh, that's the ultimate, the fear, plus the electrocute. Oh, that charm bought a little bit of space. The Q is going to be missing. Flash forward. That's exactly what they were looking for the first time, and they get it this time. No ult, no flash. The kill goes over to Jarvan. And BBC, they're on the board now. And huge call to bring the Jarvan back over. Tor's likely thinking that Jarvan was just going to move through and potentially look to egress bot lane and make something happen there. But just a mistake on that call was Jarvan kind of just waiting in the wings there, happy to make the regank, especially knowing that the ult had died off and there wasn't really anything that Torres was going to be able to do to get out of it. You know, once you confirm that knock up on the Ahri that way, without Charm being up either, there's really no way to survive it. So, flash forward, Dominus, Ignite underneath the tower. Black Mage is going to take over, but is going to die without being able to return anything at all. You hate to see it, and that Renekton is starting to get the better of that matchup. Already has a CS lead. And that's going to be a long, lonely walk back to the top lane for Black Mage. And that's what happens. Sometimes you pick that Vayne into that Renekton matchup. You're hoping that you can get aggressive enough and poke the Renekton down, but sometimes it doesn't go your way. And I think the individual prowess shown there, not only by Inbred Loser again, but also just demonstrating how good Renekton is as a champion. So he's got a very sizable lead here in this top lane. He's basically got all these plates down, a tremendous amount of gold, 1.1. He is almost the entirety of BBC's gold lead. And here very soon, he's going to look to try and break out of this lane and start making plays towards the bot side. I mean, typically, after you reach the kind of 12, 13-minute mark, that's when individual laners start to kind of switch it up. You know, normally you'd like to see Chicken Thuggy and Save the Fishes potentially egress towards mid. And then you start to kind of passively farm there. That way they're closer towards both objectives. Infernal Dragon is up, but neither team posturing to get it yet. Just establishing vision. Clearing our control wards. They're going to grab the Scuttle Crab. But with 4 strong here on the bot side for BBC, this should just mean that the second Dragon's going to go their way, especially now that they know Brojo should be somewhere topside. That crack of vision should have been seen. This is potentially a little aggressive, though, for Brojo. He's going to get caught. Sifil going to come right back in. Slays him where he stands. Yep, and the Udyr caught wandering where he shouldn't have. The Flash Bear Slap Man got slapped around a little bit by depressed Emo Yordle. But them's the breaks. BBC making good calls right now, being aggressive, making sure that they're tracking all the individual members. And I mean, great call by Inbred to even go in there and go after Brojo, because a lot of other people would have, you know, just assumed that the Udyr was going to go passively get vision and then walk on out of there. But I mean, Inbred saw an opportunity, and I mean, kudos to him. Say, hey, we're going to go and make a play, try and kill this guy. You know, even if it doesn't work, we'll, you know, threaten him and get him out of the jungle and prevent any other further vision placement. But ends up walking away with a kill. Oh, Torres lands the charm. That's the electrocute and the ignite. But once again, Save the Fishes is here to bail his mid laner out of a potentially bad fight. Torres now has to be respectful. Does have the flash, but doesn't have the ultimate. So Fishes going to be able to dodge the charm for now. Might look to trade this on top of Brojo, who's not particularly tanky. The Cataclysm goes down. Brojo bit off way more than he could chew. Now they might look to try and fight Torres a second time. He's slowly ticking. The Renekton has the dominance. He can look to dive this underneath the turret. They're going to chase this Ahri out. Flash and the smite expended from different people, but ultimately he's going to eat on the tower. Oh, Save the Fishes. Doesn't have the mana to get over with the Flag of Dragon. Also, it being on cooldown prevents him from getting it, but God, if he had the mana, that would be a very dead Ahri. But Sifil going to be very happy to get the kill on top of... Oh, Black Mage. This might be his opportunity to buy a little bit of gold, or get a little bit of gold. Gets the shutdown from the Vex. He's going to inject a little bit of gold in his pocket. Just an opportunity there. And absolutely seized it. Flash forward, wave, Save the Fishes is here. There's going to be bubble onto one. The ultimate from Yushi goes absolutely nowhere. Fire and Ice can be forced to run away now. Udyr just arrives just to watch his ADC die in absolute agony. And says, well, I wish I could have done something about that, but unfortunately I couldn't. Ooh, even Torres getting pushed out by Inbred here on this top side. Don't get stunned. That shield does quite a bit. Oh, he's getting wrapped on here, though. Inbred has put on a little too far. What else can he get with his Dominus? One more auto would do it. Packing now. Black Mage needs to try and watch out. Inbred Loser, he's about to have the Dominus drop off. Black Mage slowly stacking that damage. No one around to help him. They're just assuming Black Mage will just kind of get this done. Inbred, one more auto would do it. Gets the double kill all on his own. Where was Brojo? Trying to run up there towards the top side. That fight lasted so long. I guess he just assumed that Black Mage would naturally finish off the Renekton. That was absolutely wrong. Now the reward for that's going to be Sybil's going to have so much alone time with his turret, and may even be able to turn this on top of Brojo. Needs to get out of the ultimate, but ultimately won't tick down all that much. We'll lose about half of his health. Now the map's going to start to open up a little bit. Ult from Sybil, the Q to finish it off, plus just a little bit of electrocute damage. Brojo definitely not having a good time right now. That's going to be difficult for him. I mean, respect where respect's due. He's been called in on basically no notice at all to fill in for Ektra. And he's trying to make the most of it that he possibly can, but this is the struggle in that jungle matchup. And Save the Fishes now, I think, going to be happy to make the most use of that. And what's even worse, too, is Save the Fishes is definitely warmed up with the total number of games that they played today. And so being able to kind of abuse that familiarity and just the hands warmness, I guess, is the only term I can come up for it is nice for them. And so there's Jarvan getting a lot done across the map. 2-0-1 so far, and potentially looking to take this next break in about a minute and 15 seconds. Rift Herald, also another objective potentially available in the next almost 4 minutes, just under 4 minutes. Momentum. I think for them, it's continuing to try and find ways to potentially pick some of these members. Inbred has been incredibly aggressive in that top side, but is kind of just being allowed to do what he wants. He's going to be rotating towards the mid lane. So BBC definitely signaling that they're ready to play for this dragon. They want to start getting passive damage onto this tower. And really no answer at all from Momentum. I mean, there's really not a whole lot they can do right now. They're very much behind in the majority of their lanes. They're several thousand gold down. It's almost a 4.5k deficit. It's 17 minutes. As Sybil gets the thumbs up. He missed the ultimate. They're just going to say hi. And now Sybil may be in a little bit of trouble. Flashes out. Yeah, you were never really going to get out of there, my friend. Let's see if he can at least try and trade for one, as the survivability is not there at all. That's going to be a teleport committed there from a Renekton. We know that he can win the 1v2, but what about a potential 1v3? He's going to manage to get Brojo down, but not enough to get a kill. On the bot side, 3 strong. They're going to start to egress towards that turret. They start to get the damage down. The Herald's going to get at least one charge. They're going to slam into it, get some of those plates, and then make their way towards the dragon. Black Mage, you are not safe in that bush, my friend. And this will be already BBC's third drag. They've been fairly on the spot and getting these dragons, so by the 22-23 minute mark, they'll have all 4 stacked as long as nothing else untoward happens. And this is going to put additional pressure on Momentum, who's really not having a good time right now. They don't have a lot going for them. They're kind of being strung out across the map. They've lost all their outer, tier 1 turrets, which means they don't have a lot of freedom to move across the map. And so what does that mean for BBC? Well, it means that they have freedom to move anywhere they want to. They can set up death brushes. They can aggressively place vision and choke out Momentum's vision, which makes it very difficult for them to make any sort of play around the map or to even try and set up ganks. And that's the key to this game. I mean, it's controlling the information, and the better that you can do that, the easier time you have of it, the easier time you have of winning the game. And BBC are doing a really good job of that. I mean, if you just look at the vision as it's spread right now, and then Momentum's division is very, very, very defensive. It's all entrances and exits to lanes, trying to spot where anybody might be setting up a potential gank, trying to set up pockets of vision where they can move in and out of their own jungle, but they're just not having a good time for it right now. Can save steal this? Nope, he's just going to go straight into the ultimate on top of multiple people. Chicken Thuggy going to throw out the ultimate on top of that. Meanwhile, on the other side, Sybil, he's going to blow down fire, and Ice not ticking over just yet. Sunny going to get that kill. Torres wanted to find something, not able to get the Nami, though. Just looking for anything, some sort of consolation prize, but absolutely going to find nothing. It's 2 dead for the side of Momentum. The jungler dead. It's your ADC dead, and it's a lot of bad feelings. Torres trying to still find this Vex. Flash forward, does manage to get it with the E and the Q. What else can they find? Sunny manages to get another one with help from Chicken Thuggy. Jarvan nowhere near Black Mage. He wants to try and clean this up a little bit now. He's got the shutdown on top of the Corgi. Trying to follow underneath the tournament. Flag, drag. No knock up on top of Black Mage just yet. And Save the Fishes needs to walk out. Inbred, though, has made his way to the back of this one. Yushi, the next to fall. And he's going to flash forward to make sure that he can knock Black Mage down. Flag, dragon on a rampage. 4-0-4 for the Jarvan. And Momentum In a long, drawn-out fight that looked like maybe they would start to recover. Goes against him at the end. Inbred absolutely on top. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Fire and Ice. Does he have flash? No. No summoners available. Just going to get stunned up. Brojo going to come here to try and offer just a little bit of emotional support. But Inbred, he's feeling himself. Knows that he has the Jarvan here. Going to get spotted on vision, so there's really nothing they could do about it. BBC doing a really good job of using their aggression, using their gold lead, and snowballing that into further objectives. Massive team fight, wins 13 of 5. This first game definitely not going the way that Momentum would have wanted it to. And for them right now, I mean, I think even trying to stall the game is not necessarily going to help. Yushi, no, that's not where you want to go. The night is dark and full of terrors. It forces the flash out, and the Renekton will be happy to get that one. Yet another summoner that a Momentum member will not have. Inbred is a player that turns summoner spells into dispense summoner spells. And supports into dead supports. The next play for BBC, they're going to start to set up aggressive vision towards this Baron and potentially look for a pick. If they could get one onto Brojo. They'd like to take this Baron for free if they can. If they know that Momentum's not going to be able to come and stall it out or fight them on it, then it's just a free objective for them. But I think their comms are probably that, hey, like the only way we lose this game is if we get too aggressive on Baron and potentially throw there. Because even as far behind as Momentum really are, they do still have the ability to kind of turn a Baron fight if they can catch BBC doing it. BBC isn't that tanky. I mean, Renekton really isn't going to be the one that you want to have to long-term face tank a Baron and damage from the likes of Sivir and Ari. Oh, Cataclysm on top of Fire and Ice. That's the ultimate from the Vex. The Fear and the ultimate from the Seraphine just not able to buy any amount of time. The re-aggress onto the ultimate from Sifil. Not going to be able to get the reset. Does manage to live for now. Inbred, though, happy to clean that up. Sifil gets the reset based off of that kill, and now they can look to start to make their way towards this dragon in a minute. Torres waiting over the wolf pit. Wants to see if he can find something, but no, there's just no look. Nothing for them to get right now. An amazing trigger pull by Save the Fish is just getting straight on top of Fire and Ice, knowing that the Sivir had no summoners to get away. Doing a really good job of tracking that. And yeah, I mean, BBC, they're playing a lot like how they've played all day today, which is just at times methodical, oppressive, choking out their opponent. And for Grand Finals, this is the kind of caliber that you want to see. This is very impressive. And their shot calling has been absolutely on point the entire night. Sifil. Ooh. Yeah. Brojo trying to walk in here. Buddy, this is not your jungle. Flag. Slice, dice. Flag drag. It's all the same. Inbred is dominating 6-0-2. 3 completed. Well, 2 completed items there on there. I wonder how much gold he's sitting on. I don't have the ability to check that right now without messing with the UI, so I won't. Sifil and Chicken Thuggy. They've cut this off. Yushi was on the wrong side of this play. Should have theoretically been safer, but was trying to shadow his ADC. And ends up getting picked for it. Oh no, Fire and Ice. Yeah, that spell should not going to help you. Sifil. Yeah, this is just going to be good night, sweet prince. 5, 4, and 6. Has the ultimate cam landed again? It's going to be the wave going a whole lot of nowhere. Gets done into the wall. Is the bubble going to go down as well? Sifil gets traded. It's a 1v2. Stony Waffles here. What else can they do? And Black Mage managed to get 2, but does eventually get traded. So a 1 for 2 in the end from Momentum. Stony Waffle potentially the next to go down. Wants to get away. Brojo going to trade this. Nah, kill starting to go the way of Momentum, but meanwhile in that mid lane, Inbred trading for turrets. Action all across the rift. And a temporary moment of silence. And meanwhile, during all of that, the Dragon Soul was uncontested and given over to BBC. We missed that because there was so much fighting, which is really what you're here for. You, the audience, I think we're all here for that. Just to see these guys have a knockdown, drag out, barroom brawl. But so far, BBC, they've been doing what basically amounts to some very elegant dancing. Making the most of the draft. All's not lost for Momentum right now, though. They still have ways back into this game. They've demonstrated they can start to win some of these fights. Black Mage, if he's not adequately interfered with, can really start to shred through some of these health bars. Was able to win that 1v2. Obviously not against the strongest members of BBC. Obviously, that Renekton wasn't there either, but, I mean, did handily take care of Sifl. So that opportunity is still available for them, and that scaling will eventually start to come online for the Vayne, for the Ahri, for the Sivir. But that does seem quite a way away right now. It's going to be a while before they ever have that chance. And obviously not being able to contest for any sort of dragon is also going to hurt as well. That Mountain Soul is going to keep BBC fairly healthy through any of these long fights. And so it's just compounding factors. It makes it that much harder when you're a team like Momentum. You're trying to get the most that you can out of your composition. You're trying to overcome some of these differences in terms of capability, and you know you're inherently kind of handicapped by the fact that you just don't have any Dragon Souls. Yeah. Momentum, they know this Baron's happening, but they're making the call, I think, to just not interfere with it. They're trying to potentially look at this Renekton and see if they can get anything done there. Realistically, there's just not a chance that they can go in and still Baron. Obviously, Brojo's just nowhere near it. When can they get this Renekton? He's popped the Dominus, and okay, he's just going to walk out of there. That seems like a bit of a nothing play there for the side of Momentum. If you were going to go forward, Flash stun, wants to get the kill, and manages to kill him underneath the tower. Now Brojo has to get the hell out of there. And Bread showing he's not scared of anybody, but Black Mage just joined the fight. Flash forward, wants to start queuing this damn annoying crocodile. Black Mage supposed to see if he... Oh, sorry, not Black Mage, but Inbred wanted to see if he could potentially pick up Black Mage there, but was not able to. It was happy just to get the one kill, drew off several people. Now BBC, thankfully doing what I've been asking people to do for a long time now, which is to start to spread this Baron out. They're going to send 3 mid, knock down this inhibitor, then they can rotate towards the top side, look to start to knock down some of those towers, but Brojo, egress on to Sifl. What else can he get? He's going to manage to trade 1 for 1. Sony Waffle wants to trap forward, trying to get Black Mage. It's a 1-for-1 trade there. Now Save the Fishes is involved in the fight. Fire Knife's nowhere to go, but Chicken Thuggy screaming for help, and eventually it'll just be a trade there. So it's 4 dead for 3 on the side of Momentum. And Save the Fishes, he may be the next one going down. Trying to see if he can kill Brojo here. Passively shielding is very, very tanky. So is Save the Fishes. I don't think he's realistically going to be able to go anywhere. Charm lands. Torres putting the damage into the Jarvan. Flash forward. No more available for Torres. But yeah, Brojo should just be able to knock down Save the Fishes. Can he get another flag and drag? Yes, he can. But Brojo is fast. Yeah, we'll just passively knock him down. A very, very long extended run there. But eventually, Jarvan dies. Respect to Momentum, though, because that inhibitor definitely looked like it was going to go down. And they managed to rally out of the base. Take 4 strong, get rid of the minion wave, and then turn that into kills. And Sifl and Sunny Waffle definitely were overextending to try and get some kills there. They knew that they were going to go down, and so tried to make it as expensive as possible. But for Momentum, that gives you hope knowing that you can at least have some level of team fight capability against BBC, even though the fact that they have a almost 7k gold lead. You know, knowing that you can turn that around. But they haven't been in a pitch 5v5 in a hot minute now. And this Elder is soon to spawn. Dragon at about 3 minutes and 50 seconds. So right now, BBC just trying to see if they can pick anybody rotating through this jungle. If they can get any cheeky looks on anything. And just being proactive of limiting the vision as they've been doing this whole match. From Momentum, they're starting to come online a little bit more. They're starting to get second and third item completion. Sivir starting to get where she wants to be. It's just having the issue of surviving. Because like every time Fire and Ice has had any chance to maybe get involved in a fight, the summoners get blown or he potentially gets picked off. And that's a tough state to be in as a Sivir. Trying to get involved in team fights, trying to be that damage dealer that your team needs you to be, but then just not having any ability to get anything done because you're constantly getting dove. Oh, Chicken Thuggy, maybe not where he wants to be right now, but there is 3 strong here. Brojo wants to try and get out. Cataclysm going to be committed. Brojo going to be sent, flank, packing, and dead. Straight back to the fountain. He'll be dead for 46 seconds, so won't be able to help his team fight for any sort of vision or posture to get the Elder Dragon. And yeah, I mean, realistically, they should just be BBC getting this for free. They're pinging that bot side tower. They'd realistically like to get that last shadow tower before they make their way towards this, make it even harder for Momentum to leave their base. With Elder Spawn, they're going to turn right to it. No possibility for jungle interference. They only need 3. They're going to send Vec towards the bot side. Do some tower damage. This is where the game gets hard for Momentum. Torres with the Elder might be going down here. Ziffel absolutely seizing the opportunity. Knew that it wasn't going to be seen on any sort of vision. Had already cleared it out. And absolutely takes the opportunity to kill the Ahri. But inbred loser. 1v3. That's not where he wants to be. But 4 strong on the bot side here for BBC. They're going to start to siege down on this tower. Broja just wants to throw out the ult and see if he can clear away a number of those minions. And they will be able to do so. But this could be a second inhibitor exposed. And now the recall is going to start to come through. How long do they want to stay? They overstayed the last time for an inhibitor. They managed to get it. They want to walk over to the left, but that may not be their sides to get. Brojo taking immediately deleted by the Elder. Cataclysm canceled now that they've got what they wanted. Black Mage, the next to fall. Yushi going to get bubbled up. Jarvan flag drag, double kill for the Corki. Sunny Waffle going to feel fantastic about that. It is 3-4 dead for the side of Momentum. And this game, only 30 minutes old, is going to be ending right here. BBC, they strike first in this series. And though it is not, one win does not a series make, it is a great way to start. Ziffel still managing to land. Elder Beam comes out. They're going to put the finishing touches here on this dragon, on this final turret. Double kill for Civil. And yeah, game 1 going over to BBC. Fantastic. We've got our series well in hand. Again, Big Bird Club electing again to stay on the blue side. As Darius going to hit the ban board. Yep, no surprises there. Likely to see the Zahin also hit the ban board. And then potentially an Mbessa, but we'll see. Possibly a Skarner, like it was last game. It's interesting how often they want to keep bans the same. Teams often, I think, kind of cycle through different things that they're worried about for each individual matchup, and it doesn't always carry through the entirety of a series, but we'll see how they want to handle that now. Big Bird Club, they would like to make this remainder of this night very short. They'd like to have an easy 3-0 if they could get one, but Momentum would like to extend this series to potentially 4 games and win it in 3-1. And if you remember early on in the stream, that was a Black Mage's prediction, is that it was going to be a 3-1. 3-1 their favor. Now, let's see how this draft is going to unfold. Big Bird Club with the opening pick. They're going to pick Emilio. Signaling that they want to hide some of their other picks until later on in the draft. And potentially pick a top or a mid laner and either 3 or 4. Pick 3 or 4. Momentum, where do they want to put the priority? They're just going to match sub for sub right now. They're going to pick up Soraka. Champion we haven't seen a tremendous amount of, but it's just a great straight damage healer, which might indicate that they're just looking for team fighting. Is the Amumu going to come out for simplicity? I haven't seen an Amumu in a while, but this is a champion that needs absolutely no introduction. Is actually very good at ganking. I think is fantastic with Bandit Touch, and then obviously is just great AoE farming, great in team fights with the ultimate. So you should just see what else they'll pair with that. Not super tanky by any stretch of the imagination, but does great damage. Big Bird Club, they could just look to match jungler here, or they could lock in their bot side. So Emilio Varus, that safe, steady pair of hands for Big Bird in that bot side. Will give them, I think, plenty of poke and plenty of team fighting. Love Varus. Love seeing him drafted in with compositions that can really enable him. As Big Bird Club, yet again, I'm going to the Dr. Mundo. Steady and faithful. Love that champion. They have proven time and time again that they know how to use him to his fullest effect. Now Momentum going to pair the Soraka with a Jinx. A champion that we haven't seen at all so far in this tournament, and one that I've been calling for a little while just because I think I like what she brings to team fights and just her laning capabilities. So being paired with that Soraka gives them a lot of sustainability. And then also the global ult for Soraka to help keep some potentially low members topped up. So neither team has locked in a mid laner or a top laner. So Momentum, they will have to lock in one or the other, and they will get counter-picked one way, at least for one of them, unless they want to flex the Dr. Mundo and have something go on there. Reliant Soul, again, going to be visiting the ban board. Want to make sure that Torres doesn't have access to that instead of Momentum. Kaiser also going to be taken away. They don't want They don't want Inbred Loser getting his hands on that one. I think we've had enough demonstrations tonight that that champion should never reach his hands unless you absolutely think that you have something that you can trade into it. And Victor also going to be the pinch away there from Torres. They don't want to give him anything else. Champions still available. Orianna, Talia. Those are potentially fairly good for momentum. Something that they can play. Rise, Twisted Fate. Also available. Other mid laners. Hwei, something we haven't seen in a while, but that it could be played there. They could go more mobile. Akali also wouldn't be terrible with this composition. Would give them quite a bit of damage. But yep, there's the Rise we were talking about earlier. So Big Bird or the Orianna, either or, is fine. Big Bird, they could look to lock in something like a Kassadin here. And then pair that off with a very strong top lane or something like a Cassante or perhaps a Scion or a Gnar, which is available. Xerath, the hopper for Big Bird Club. I don't hate that. Gives him a lot of poke, gives him a lot of late game damage. Worried about his mobility to some degree if it gets dove, especially by an Amumu, but potentially a great late scaling champion. Now here, options, if you're trying to get a little bit more team fighting and a little more capability, Ornn, Scion, Gnar, those are all great champions you could pick. If you want to go something a little bit more aggressive, you could look for something like a Kennen, a Gragas, Camille, all champions that would do really well there. What else do they potentially want to consider? But the Gnar, I think, going to be the logical solution there. Gives them a lot of fighting. So now, if your momentum, how do you want to handle this? Shen would be probably one of your more preferential matchups there, unless maybe you wanted to go something like a Malphite, potentially draft an Ornn for yourself, even though you know you're going to lose that individual 1v1. Maybe you want to fight it with something like a Gwen or a Camille. Just depends. They need a little bit more frontline. They're a little skinny right now and very, very burstable. They need some reliable frontline, and yeah, there's going to be the Malphite. Not sure how well it's going to do in the Gnar just on the passive range, but does give them a little bit more team fight. It gives them some more wombo combo, especially, and a great delivery service for the Orianna ball, which I think that they're going to be looking for. Game number 2 of what might potentially just be a 3-0 series. If momentum struggle in this one, they'll be on match point. That would not be where that would not be where they want to be. BBC, they want to put a swift end to the series if they possibly can. And they've drafted themselves the tools to do it. But as with everything, comes down to execution. It's going to come down to these individual signups too. It's going to be very important for Inbred and for Sifl to be very proactive and warning and making sure that they're not going to take advantage of, because wherever possible, Brojo is going to want to try and make those ganks lethal and devastating. It always comes at a worse time. You know, when you feel like you're winning in a lane, and then the jungler makes an unexpected visit, and you're suddenly hating life. You fully expect this top lane matchup to just go the way of Inbred. Gnar is just one of those very, very oppressive laning champions. Can easily get control over the wave, and then passively push you out. And Malphite also being short range with his Q doesn't necessarily have all the greatest tools to kind of trade with the Gnar. Especially once Inbred gets access to the boomerang, then it's just he's able to trade super effectively. Taros getting some passive shielding there. Yep, this is level 2 for Inbred, so he will have very firm control over that top side. See Brojo. He's clearing his Krugs, potentially looking like he wants to try and do something about that Gnar. As he goes into Mega. Not yet level 3. But Brojo, if he wants to try and do anything, he needs to be level 43. He comes through there. This is the early gank that I was potentially talking about. Here he comes. Inbred fixing to come out of Mega. It is going to have the hop. It does have the flash. Is going to get bandage tossed. Yeah, isn't going to use the flash. 3 flashes in a row. Bandage toss. Should have just died. Should have just let it happen. There was no way he's going to be able to get out of there. Didn't have access to a second leap. But now Inbred, he's going to be receiving that first early pressure gank. Managed to get a little bit of CS. 2 flashes burned to get him. But I think if you're Brojo, you're trying to make sure that you can protect Black Mage as much as possible. Give him the opportunity to start to push out that lane. That will also get the teleport from Inbred as well. So, not the worst investment, but it does mean that if he wants to make another play later on, the Amumu, then he'll have to kind of do things the hard way and land all the bandage tosses. Oh, Torres! Autos would do it. Wants to plea if he can pull Torres underneath the tournament. Torres, ooh, does take one. Yep, he might be dead here. Save the Fishes has access to his flash. The Q from Xerath going to go wide, but that's going to set up potentially a cleaver. Yeah, he's dead no matter what here, so don't burn the flash. Yeah, just shouldn't have burned the flash. Burn it for really a whole lot of nothing. Moon wants to see what else he can make happen here, though. Save the Fishes. Could potentially start to trade. Is just going to passively start healing up. Sifil helping out here. The Q. Ooh, one more auto would do it, but a Mumu healing through due to the jungle item. And is going to get a double kill. That's huge, huge, huge from momentum. Trying to build some momentum and getting some early kills already on to that Mumu. 3-0. He's going to be feeling very, very happy when he gets to go back and shop. Inspired. Still holding control of this lane. Uh-oh. Is this going to be another regang? No. Is going to get spotted out. Is just going to go ahead and take that crab. He's looking here. Inbred would really like to get the shutdown gold from Brojo, but he's a little bit fast. Hop. A Q potentially. So full. Doesn't have access to his flash, but they have access to the slowdown and the damage. Yep, they want to shut Brojo down. He's going to be dying here no matter what. It's going to go straight over to Xerath, which is where you would have wanted that to go. Fantastic for him. That's the second kill of the game. As Torres just trying to zone Sifil away from the middle of the lane. We're on Torres. Uh-oh. Save the Fishes is here. Sifil. Yep, landed the stun. This is going to be the end of Torres, at least on this one. Man, the last game was so much more controlled, and now it's just going to be way more bloody to begin this game. It took us way longer to even get a couple kills, and both these teams decided they want to get super, super bloody. And Torres really not happy as that Orianna. Already down CS, already down 2 kills. And that shutdown goal giving over to the Mundo, which, you know, if you're talking about getting 3 kills on a Mumu, you know what feels even better? It's kills on a Bwippo. I almost called him Bwippo. Kills on a Mundo. Let's see if the Fish is going to go ahead and collect that Scuttle Crab. Very importantly, though, Brojo already does have his Haunting Guys. That'll be nice when he's trying to do his camps and farm that kind of stuff up. Started off this dragon. Amumu's still waiting the wings. He could interrupt this. He wouldn't necessarily be able to stop. Save the Fishes from taking it, but he is looking to potentially gank here. Hasn't checked the dragon at all. Maybe he thinks that this just isn't happening. Wait, he's not even going to go egress over there to try and see if it's happening? I mean, Sunny and Chicken Thuggy haven't necessarily given this away, and they don't want to walk over there. They're going to know that this has happened now. And now, Save the Fishes can start to walk over here. Sunny Waffle forced to flash away. They want to prevent him from going into rage mode, and now Fire and Ice. One more auto would do it, but the Xerath ulti is going to collect at least one. Yushi, half health, but will walk away at least for now. Brojo just going to see his way on out of this, out of the river. Doesn't have level 6, knows that the Mundo does. Lands the Bandage Toss. I'm not sure he really wanted to land it. But very aggressive trading. And Fire and Ice happy to get a kill on that Jinx. Goes into Frenzy. Gets 2, actually. Gets the kill on both Sunny and Chicken Thuggy. On the top side, though. Oh, ultimate committed on top of Sifil. And yeah, he's just going to be going down there. And won't be committing anything else. That Torres will get himself on the board and be happy to do so. And Sunny. Thuggy's going to face check this. Nope. Places the ward. Thank goodness.
Let me give you a hug.
Nimbrep starting to reform up here on this top side. Is level 7. Has a little bit of CF deficit from Black Mage, but it'll be fine. It's one of those things like you kind of just accept like every now and then you're going to lose pressure and lose a little bit of CS. And it is still a Gnar. It will still be effective no matter what. Grub's going to be spawning in about 40 seconds. Like to see Brojo be a little bit more proactive in moving over there to go get him. The back timer is also going to be not so great for Black Mage as well. His teleport's not going to be off cooldown, so he's going to have to walk. Oops, this is I messed with the camera. So that means that as long as like Inbred is, well, as I say that he wasn't going to complete the back, so that point is now rendered moot because I was going to say Black Mage wouldn't be able to be here to help the Amumu take the grubs. Still about 8 seconds before that happens. I don't think that Save the Fish is going to necessarily try to move over there right now to potentially take them. Unless they want to try and fight with Inbred. Teleport is up for Black Mage. They could look for a potential fight if something were to happen towards that top side. Right now, just trying to make his way towards this mid lane. Simple needs to be careful. He's postured defensively. It is going to land underneath the stun, plus the ultimate. Torres flashing underneath there. Simple manages to survive for so long, but now he's going to have to get out of here. And now Inbred. Uh-oh, this is not what you want. Wish going to buy a little bit of time. Save the Fishes. He's certainly going to be knocking down this Orianna, and then they will look to potentially do the same thing to the Amumu. Inbred just going to passively auto him down. The Boomerang gets it. They can look to go get the grubs at any time they want. BBC still being proactive, even though they're a kill down. Just having a great time in that top side. The Malphite nowhere to be found there. Black Mage otherwise occupied farming. Potentially looking to go towards here. Not sure what they're pinging on towards this turret. Is deciding to walk up through the lane. Potentially signaling a lane switch. So looking like they want to do the lane swap. It would be a little bit too early to do it though. I think they should wait until after they do this dragon and then do the lane swap. But right now it looks like Malphite potentially just coming through the lane is going to hide out in this brush. Okay, Chicken Thuggy and Sunny Waffle. How good are your sixth senses? How willing are you to... see, yeah, Fire and Ice kind of messed us up a little bit. Because they've very aggressively pushed the wave in. Now, they might try and invite Sunny Waffle and Chicken Thuggy to come out a little bit further. Rojo also waiting in the wings. They could potentially move 5 people down here if they wanted to rotate the Orianna and the Amumu, but that would give it away. Do they know? Do they suspect that he might be here? Oh, gets the ult on top of the 2. Choppers go down. Root, or at least the temporary heal. Not enough to save the Varus and that bot side, though. They only get 1 for it, but it's enough. And now Malphite going to be teleporting up towards that top side. Won't be able to go back to base before he does it. Save the Fishes. Slowly cleavering, being cleavered down. Usually just trying to keep him healthy. You're going to get the barrier out of the Jinx. Oh, Syphil. Uh-oh. Torres trying to put the damage in. The Q and the autos manages to get it underneath the turret. And Torres, while he may have been bullied earlier, he is certainly not being bullied now. 3-3 on the Orianna. 10 CS lead. Yes, Syphil has that Luden's Echo, but it's really not helping him a whole lot right now. And in order for him to kind of get a little bit more safety, you're going to have to see Save the Fishes come over there and kind of help him out. Still though, passively in the objectives, still going towards BBC. They've been on top of it yet again. Got all 3 grubs. Got the first drag. Ocean Drag is available to them. They have 5 members strong down there with the exception of Inbred. So it's really 4, basic math. Fire and Ice. Need to be very careful. Don't want to go him into Frenzy. Super Mega Death Rocket would be enough. Syphil is here, though, and now is starting to wrap. Save the Fishes. Wants to see what else he can do. Teleport from the Nard. They want to get both kills here. It's going to be the Wish coming out, but that may not be enough. They're going to sure get him underneath the tower. They want to dive this. The Jinx must die for them to get the turret. Save the Fishes is going to walk on out, and they're going to go get themselves a dragon. 2 kills over to BBC. Staying competitive. No gold lead whatsoever for either of these teams. Oh, there's a Malphite waiting in the wings. Black Mage, he would love to rain on BBC's parade, but unfortunately, I think he's not going to get the opportunity because everyone is just a little too late to this play from the side of MMT. And they're just going to have to watch that dragon go down. Inbred just needs to be a little bit careful. Is full comboable from Black Mage. Does have access to the full kit. Is about to go Mega, though, so that kind of cuts down on the opportunity for Black Mage. BBC, even when they're losing, they're winning. But massive respect to Momentum, though. They've been fairly proactive in trying to make these plays work. They've still got some pretty good scaling going on. At least for the Jinx, 3 and 2. Yeah, Inbred is baiting this. Does Sunny have ultimate? No, he does not. 3 strong here for the side of BBC, but they're just going to trace Black Mage out. Inbred's going to look to reset as the lane swap finally happened. Both the Soraka and the Jinx that went topside. The Mundo there just to keep them in check and collect some of those waves. In a much, much different game than the first one that we saw. These guys definitely way more bloody. Bean's coming through. What does Save the Fishes want to do? There he is going to get seen. Aggressive Bean's coming down both bot and top. But I think just warning them they needed to get out of there because the Mumu was making his way towards that bot side. Next step for Momentum, I think, other than just passively farming, they need to put themselves in a position to contest for the next Drake. They really don't want to be consistently putting themselves at a deficit that way. BBC have shown that they have no problem prioritizing those objectives. Like, they'll sacrifice other things across the map for them. They'll sacrifice towers, you know, minions, anything that they can in order to stack those objectives because of how powerful it is to have that Dragon Soul. And Brojo getting spotted on the ward here, so this should make it very, very difficult for them to try and dive this. So it's just pressure being exchanged throughout the different lanes. Simple. Starting to land good damage. Save the Fish is just going to walk forward, start to put damage into this tower. Tor's really not under too much threat. That's going to be the Shockwave pulling 2 in, but nothing to follow up with. Some decent damage. Gets the health bar to half. Galio emote. Even, if you please. Meanwhile, Inbred, though, left all day with this tower. He's going to knock it down, and we've talked about what happens when Inbred Loser has how it just is allowed unified access to just, I don't know, gold and tower, which is exactly what's happening now. The tower is starting to fight back just a little bit. No minions to get the tower debuff. But what I'd like to see next is I'd like to see, for BBC, I'd like to see them start to be a little bit more aggressive towards Fire and Ice and Yushi in this bot side. Be a little bit more proactive in trying to knock them down. But for Fire and Ice and Yushi, they've been doing pretty good job trying to keep these waves shoved. Jinx in a fairly good spot right now. Has the completed Kraken Slayer. Will be trying to finish the boots. They need to be careful how far they're stepping up. They've been fairly good throughout the entirety of this tournament, but prone to being a little too aggressive. Yushi doing a pretty good job keeping Fire and Ice topped up. It has that mirror. Now, this shouldn't be too much of an issue for them to walk out of this, but the Xerath ulti on top of that's going to make this even a little bit more complicated. Wish comes out. Xerath ulti expended. Teleport sent. Black Mage. He wants to try and get both if he can. Sunny Waffle not going to expend the flash if he can absolutely avoid it. Oh, the ult even knocks them back. The Black Mage now going to be forced to go underneath the turret, potentially get anything more. Chicken Thuggy going to expend his ultimate. And Mumu here for a little bit more follow-up. They need to clear this wave unless they want to give up the tower. Brojo gets one. Getting knocked over the tower. Momentum starting to find a really, really good fight here. They're going to knock down 4 members of BBC, but on that top side, though, Nara's going to start to knock down that top tower, that tier 2. So ultimately, a lot invested for him to start to get that. 4 kills going over to to Momentum. And I think just an awkward series of play for BBC. They just quite weren't ready for the full commitment for Momentum in that bottom tower. Dragon going to be spawning in 42nd. Inbred really does need to kind of make his way out of here, and certainly does need to avoid getting taken out, because they're going to need him to not only be alive but stack Rage Bar for this potential Dragon fight. It's going to be Chemtech Soul. Not the most useful in the world, but it's better that than nothing. It's, as we say in my state, it's better than poking an eye with a sharp stick. And certainly better for them to be able to put themselves on Dragon Point and force Momentum to respond to them. And I think once we see a full 5v5 with the Gnar involved, like, we're going to start to see BBC become a little bit more dangerous, as Tora's just trying to do anything to dissuade this Mundo from pushing them out of the jungle. And it's weird because even though Momentum have a lead, like, they have a kill lead and they have a gold lead, like, it just does not feel like they're super in control of the game right now. Super Mega Death Rocket can hit absolutely nothing. And instead, Momentum, they will make the decision to go ahead and try and trade for towers and plates in other places. They've already got the first tower in the bot side. They'd like to get a little bit more. Black Mage, I think, won't be able necessarily to 100% destroy that tower because of the minions, but we'll at least be able to get it down fairly low. And especially now that Inbred is coming up there. Next big objective they can fight for is Herald. And I'd like to see a very, very bloody 5v5 fight for that. I'd like to see Momentum get a little bit more proactive and not losing these neutral objectives. But that said, I think the plan that they have right now and just slowly allowing their laners to come online and get some of the objectives, specifically with the Jinx, I think is good. And Torres already 2 completed items, has the Leandri's Torment done, has the upgraded boots, has the Seraph's Embrace. Amumu, Brojo trying to find this this Gnar, but I don't think that's really going to be possible. And I think trade-wise, I think for power-wise right now, with Varus being on the bot side for BBC, I think they're okay with that because they don't, because Momentum doesn't have Torres, and you'd much rather have that Orianna than then they would rather have the Varus. Torres going to get the Q, though, so actually that may not even matter. Torres does have the ability to teleport to potentially make a play for this, so this is a 4v5. However, they will be missing the Orianna ulti. Xerath, poke damage is particularly nasty. BBC, they're not even necessarily worried anything about doing this objective. They just want to pull up potentially the summoners for the Orianna. And it's just harassed. Just so long as they don't get full engaged in by Brojo and Black Mage, are going to be fine. But Momentum posturing very, very aggressively here in this topside jungle. They're looking for, trying to get a little bit of vision, but it's getting cleared out. And Momentum, they're going to get potentially stalled out here because Sunny Waffle has now respawned. All that they need to do is stall this out just a little bit longer. Don't want to take the fight yet. No Orianna ulted. Black Mage trying to get on top of Sifo, but won't be able to knock him down just yet. Brojo going to be the next to fall. Wish committed. Black Mage has slain the Xerath, and now this fight going the opposite direction. Momentum, this is what they wanted. They want to try and get back into the series. Want to get a game going. Well, this is how you do it. Flash forward Yushio over the wall, not be able to get anything. Black Mage now trying to turn this around. Inbred Loser about to come out of Mega Gnar, and that would be the signal for Black Mage to knock him down. Momentum, 16-9 of the kills. Happy with where the game is going now. They may have lost some of the early objectives, but they're absolutely starting to turn it around. Black Mage kills the Gnar on that top side, and Momentum, they're definitely in control of this game.
Let me give you a hug.
Nice kickball. BBC, they don't sound like they're ready to let this go. Teleport in through the Xerath. Are they going to try and make a play for... Oh, Brojo trying to play whack-a-mole with the Xerath. Doesn't end up dying, though. The ping's going down. Yeah, this is just going to be Herald fight number 2, Electric Boogaloo. The recall is coming through for the Malphite and for the Amumu. And they instead decide not to make a play for it. Well, they can't anyways because it times out. So, I mean, honestly, not a bad job by BBC by stalling out the objective. Obviously, they would have liked to have done that by not having to throw so many bodies at the problem. But, you know, whatever it takes. Not a huge goal lead, though. 2.7 in the pockets for Momentum. BBC, plenty of opportunities to get back in this, though. As, yeah, Save the Fish is going to continually land the damage on Fire and Ice. Wants to knock him down, if at all possible. Underneath the turret, though, not the way to do that. Is going to draw out the teleport, though. And, oh, Inbred wants to knock down Torres if he can. One more hit would do it. One more auto. Manages to get the shutdown on top of the Orianna. Huge pick there. And that's going to set them up very, very nicely for the Dragon that's going to spawn in about a minute's time. Health bars getting a little low for the side of BBC. They still have plenty of opportunities to turn this fight around. Gnar going to teleport if he can to an available ward. Orianna going to be dead for the next 20 seconds. Posturing available for BBC. They want to try and get egress into this river. They would like to get this 4th drag. You get this. You have a tremendous power spike. It's worth a tremendous amount of gold. It's worth a tremendous amount of pressure. But that starts with trying to defend, if at all possible, this mid lane turret. But for now, they'll just set her for Inbred, trying to build up his rage. And Fire and Ice will go potentially into, temporarily into Frenzy. Inbred, though, starting to stack the Mega. BBC, what do they want to do? What does Momentum want to do? How aggressive do they want to get for this Dragon? They really don't want to give this over. They know they have to fight for it. But at the same time, they don't want to be giving over pressure. Oh, they see Black Mage. They know that he was walking through there. They're going to try and cut him off. They're trying to cut the remainder of the Momentum team from ever getting over to him. If they could cut off this rotation, this would be huge. Being able to stop that mid laner, or the side of that top laner from getting able to do anything. Sunny Waffle. Oh, gets on to 2. Sifo going to be the next to fall. If they can try to get this Jinx going, that would be huge. He's going into Frenzy. Yushi, probably the next to fall. Inbred going to be able to get over the wall, but it will be the next to fall. It's 3 dead in the blink of an eye for BBC. Momentum got to the triple kill. On to Fire and Ice, and now they're going to be able to pick up their first Dragon of the game. Chicken Thuggy realistically can't do anything. Save the Fishes, though. He could try and walk in there and steal this. This is going to be immune to the CC. Wants to see if he can get it. He does! Oh, it's the Dragon Soul for Save the Fishes and for BBC. Walked in the middle of 4 people, slapped him around and said, thank you very much for the leash. Oh, my goodness. Brojo's smite was way, way, way too early. Just got nervous about the damage. And Save the Fishes was very happy to take it away. A huge, huge, huge takeaway for them. BBC, they may be down in kills and down some significant gold, but they've got that Dragon Soul in their pocket. And that's certainly going to drive Momentum wild, especially considering that was going to be their ability to stop the Dragon stacking from BBC. Credit where credit's due. The target selection from Momentum has been fantastic so far in the second game. They've been getting on top of Sunny Waffle, been getting on top of Siffle, making sure they don't have any safety to make any of these plays, that they don't have any time to get their damage off. They've been crowding both of those champions. Making sure that the Xerath doesn't have the ability to poke over long-range walls, making sure that Sunny is never safe anywhere he's standing. And that Malphite and the Orianna giving them absolute backline access, but credit where credit's due. Save the Fishes has been absolutely on point in securing these neutral objectives, has been on fire tonight. And if there's a way for them to win this game, if there's an opportunity for them to slowly start to cut down on this gold deficit and potentially take themselves to a match point, it's going to be through Save the Fishes and Inbred doing what they've been doing all day. So much of BBC's playmaking is reliant on them. But they've proven over and over again that they have the ability to handle that responsibility. Momentum starting to clear him out some of the vision here towards this Baron area. They're not necessarily able to threaten this, I think. I think even if... this shouldn't be too much going. This ultimate to be committed. Fire and Ice want to try and get something. Chompers doesn't land. Flash over underneath the turret. That's a lot expended to try and get the Gnar, and now they're going to have to get out of dodge. As the damage starting to land, Xerath wants to start to try and poke these guys over the wall. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Save the Fishes trying to save some pressure. Torres, you're not really going to be able to hurt this Mundo all that much. You're going to kind of slowly get damage down. Was sitting on a ward the entire time. Takes the Blast Cone over. Meets up with Black Mage. And BBC not too worried about that Baron going down right now. Able to kind of stall the play out. Embed lived for a very, very long time there. Thought he might go down at some point, but Black Mage was just kind of standing there for a second. I was wondering if he was shopping. Doing a little window dressing. Things coming out. Both these teams posturing very, very, very aggressively for this Baron. I don't necessarily know that you can win the game on this play, but you could most certainly lose it. I think both the teams respect and acknowledge that. For BBC, it's having to get through this Malphite. And for Momentum, it's having to get through the Mundo. It's just a trade of inconveniences. Torres doing a good job in trying to passively push through that bot side, shoving those waves into the turret. And Black Mage. Yeah, you really don't want to try and ult the Mundo. That's not the recipe for success, but he would very much like to reach Sunny Waffle and Chicken Thuggy. You could knock those two low health members down. That becomes a lot easier. Xerath landing the damage on top of Yushi. That's going to force out the Wish. And now BBC can potentially make the look something happen. Oh, nice flashes. Black Mage wasn't able to get anybody. The Shockwave on top of it manages to get at least a couple, but now Inbred is here. Torres trying to get away. Yushi trying to get away. Manages to get the Sirach and is down. Turns it back around, and now Torres might be the next to fall. The Jinx, they need to try and stop her. They want to prevent her from going into Rampage. Uh-oh, it's a double kill, and now a triple. The Jinx for Momentum getting the work done, and now they're going to start to run this towards the mid lane. It was two sacrificed, but now they'll start to get underneath the turret. Brojo trying to do a little bit of dirty dancing underneath the turret is going to drop for it. And Fire and Ice might be potentially the next Iffle. Oh, would he love to land a Q on that Jinx, but not going to be given the opportunity. Instead, they're just going to get the hell out of dodge. And that gold lead still holding steady, but those fights on a razor's edge. And even despite the fact that Black Mage missed his ultimate and wasn't able to hit anybody, that Shockwave on top of him was fantastic, able to pull in multiple members, knock those health bars down, and set up Fire and Ice to start throwing those empowered rockets into the backs of BBC. And once she reaches Frenzy, it's very, very difficult to deal with a Jinx that's enraged. Elder going to be spawning in a minute, 50 seconds. Baron already spawned. No one has yet made an attempt to do it. Sunny Waffle and Siffle, they would really like to knock down this turret, and in fact will do so. It wasn't long for this world. And BBC, how do they want to approach this? Do they want to try and set up a Death Brush in Momentum side of the jungle? Or they want to take a full 5-on-5 fight? And Momentum, what can you do to get Jinx to continue to do what she's been doing? Fantastic play. Fantastic team fight in that last one. But you got to have more of those. And right now, Momentum's been doing a good job and limiting the capability of Inbred and of Save the Fishes to get on top of their damage dealers. The Jinx relatively unhindered the entire time. Save the Fishes might be trying to get towards underneath this turret. This is going to force out the teleport from the Malphite. Save the Fishes needs to kind of be careful where he wants to go with this one. You don't want to throw out that Amumu ultimate unless you can get multiple members. Jinx and Soraka late to the party. And, yeah, Black Mage and Brojo just going to be gently moved into the brush. Excuse me, sir. Could you move over there? Vision active across all these members. Torres just getting passively poked. That's the Zera. That's going to knock out the Wish. Yushi, one more hit would do it, and now being forced to retreat. Fire and Ice now doesn't have the Soraka to keep her healthy. Now this might be the moment that BBC was looking for. Black Mage forced to use the ultimate to get to safety. A lot invested just to survive right now. Chains of Corruption on top of the Amumu, but they need to make sure he can't turn it. He doesn't. Sunny Waffle slays the Amumu. That is so much engaged down. BBC gets hit by the shockwave, but absolutely nothing else happening. But Inspired Loser wants to try and get even more damage. They've got the members of Momentum stuck underneath this turret. They're fishing a barrel. They can go nowhere. Inbred just passively taking out the turret. He's going to eventually drop. Sifil, they can start to turn. This Fire and Ice is enraged, but it's not enough. Doesn't have a lot of health to play with. BBC, they want to collect these kills. They don't want to let it go. Just a little bit of damage will do it, and it does. Fire and Ice slain by Save the Fishes. They're going to get a double kill underneath the turret. The Ana the next to fall. And surely this Elder Dragon will be available for BBC. Huge play. They stayed stubborn on that bot side of Momentum in a super long and drawn out fight. Weren't able to survive. The poke damage too much. BBC on top of it. And now this Elder Dragon going to make these following fights so much easier. They can go straight to Baron after this. And Brojo, as mad as he would like to make something happen, is just not going to be able to. He's going to get here maybe just in time to see the scrolling message of the Elder Dragon being taken. And the recalls in that Dragon Pit are going to go through. And BBC, there's no way they don't immediately start to make their way towards this Baron. And for BBC, they have to feel that they're riding the scales from this series from earlier. They all admitted, everyone, both Momentum and Big Bird Club admitted that that series was very, very close. And they all made mistakes. And made decisions they might not otherwise have made in draft and in game. But now they look to be rectifying those mistakes and trying to right the record. They've made a fantastic run through the lower bracket. Having to play so many different series. 3 best-of-3 series today. They had to play them all. All those games. Didn't have an easy time of it all, and now they're just looking to get rewarded. They want to try and take away this Baron. And for Momentum, how do you approach this? Any bit of damage is potentially lethal. Sifil going to throw out the ultimate. That's going to force the remaining members of Momentum who are damaged to have to back off. And they're just going to have to way sayonara to that Baron. Absolutely no contest at all. They're going to smite it. They're going to walk away. And now they're going to look to try and transform that Baron into standing gold. A bot lane tier 1 turret is available for the taking, but they're going to egress towards this top side. Want to see what else they can get. They have the Elder Dragon for about a minute. They have the Baron for 2 minutes. So a solid minute of just pain that they can start to inflict on to Momentum and Co. Save the Fish is not sure what he's doing. That's really not where you want to be. Egress a little too far in there and is going to get punished, but is getting healed up. Pops the ultimate and walks away. And look at that. Back to full health. It did cost him his ultimate. But not great wave management right now. Wave management right now for the side of BBC. They don't have their minions in place in order to start. Brojo, that's really not the ultimate that you wanted to take. He's going to survive just for right now. Is healed up by the Wish. They would like to get a little bit more. He's going to try and land the ultimate if he can. Nope, that's not going to happen. Sunny Waffle going to slay the sad little mummy right where he stands. And now the siege truly begins. Shockwave onto 4 people with absolutely no follow-up. Just trying to throw anything to get BBC to go away, but it's not going to work. Oh, nice catch by Torres. Oh, sorry, nice catch by Inbred Loser. Try to catch Torres on with it. Oh, Fire and Ice. The health bar is so low. Torres wants to hit him. The Elves are going to collect too. This might just be the end of the game, BBC. If they found their way to end it, the respawn timer is going to be fairly long. They have 5 alive. Black Mage, you got to try and find to do something. Wants to protect this base, but doesn't really have a way to do it. Got to find a way to get a kill. Get Frenzy onto this Jinx. Get to those squishier or lower health members, but there's just no way to do it. Everybody's body blocking. It's an ult on top of Black Mage, but they're going to kill Jinx before she can even go into the rage mode. And now they're just going to knock down the poor little Malphite. They're going to knock down the final tower, knock down the Nexus, and BBC, after a close second game, they're on match point. On match point, they've got to find a way to survive. As somebody is sending me a message. Oh, Momentum is conceding. Okay, alrighty. So we are no longer going to get the remainder of this best of 5, as the league officials have told me now that Momentum is going to concede to the Big Bird Club. So wow, okay. Congratulations to the Big Bird Club on becoming the first ever TLS champions. They have won the prize. They're our first place team, even though they had a hell of a bracket to make it through the lower bracket. We'll try and get an interview with I'd like to interview the whole team and ask them how they're feeling, if we can possibly make that happen. Alrighty, hello there. How are you feeling now that you are now the newly crowned and first ever champions of the TLS, the TLS Green Division?
Hello. Well, I always knew the Big Bird Club had it in us, been practicing since day one, and we just knew that no matter what, birds would reign victorious. What can I say?
Wow. How are you guys feeling? I mean, obviously, it's one thing to believe that you're going to win, but another to do it. You guys have had one hell of a day. Thoughts and feelings right now, the team, when I mean, not controversially, but I think maybe rather unexpectedly that Momentum conceded. How did you guys feel about that?
Well, I mean, I can't lie. We're a little upset about Ectra not being here for the series.
Yeah.
But I respect, Momentum for playing it out, right?
Sure.
And then they put up a real fight in the second game as well. So,
yeah.
Can't fault them for that.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, but yeah, we're definitely all tired, so it's nice to be able to just call it.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel you. I don't want to keep you for too much longer. But two, I mean, really fantastic games, especially y'all turned it around in that second game where it looked like it was kind of going against you. Talk to me about like the mental fortitude. I mean, you guys had, y'all basically had geared up for this full best of 5. So I'm sure, like having to keep up that effort across the series of a whole day. You guys played 3 best of 3 series, and we're, trying to turn this one into a best of 3. So potentially 4 of them. How are things?
Yep. Yeah, well, so for this one, there was definitely one point in the game where, our entire backline was just getting run over, and me and Sean were like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We can't really protect you guys. And then, okay, it looks like we're going to game 3. But we reeled it back in. And then luckily they kind of started being able to deal with them a bit, right? While Sean and I create some space for them, and then the artillery came in, and it was GG.
Absolutely. How did it feel seeing Mundo just walk, not even flash, just walk into the middle of 4 people, steal drag, and just walk out? How did that feel?
I love Mundo. I just Mundo goes where he pleases, right?
Yeah, and apparently, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, I think every game, I make it my mission to disrespect the enemy team on Mundo and then barely get away with it with my life. So,
well, that's exactly what happened in that second game, and I think hard to say that it wasn't successful. So, I mean, massive congratulations to that. I know that it's late. I know that you guys have been up all day, so I'll keep this very short. I just want to say congratulations to you and your team. Y'all performed spectacularly all day, although I didn't get to see y'all's very first series. I did get to see y'all's very first series, but I didn't get to see the lower, one of the lower bracket ones that y'all had to play against TTQ, other than that last one. But congratulations to you guys. Y'all did fantastic. Enjoy the rest. Enjoy potentially just watching the games tomorrow rather than having to play them all. Fantastic effort for you guys, and enjoy being champions for as long as it lasts. Hope to see you guys in the regular season when we get ready to do a not cramming everything in one day tournament. And congratulations on the success. And go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the cast as well.
Absolutely. It was an honor. These are great games. I've had a lot of fun tonight. My voice is going to be shot for tomorrow. Hope tomorrow potentially will be just as long as the day. But we do it for the love of the game, and when I get to cast games like what y'all play, we made it
spicy, a little spicy for you, right?
Oh yeah. There were plenty of times where I was not believing what I was seeing. Like that Mundo moment. I can't wait for y'all to go back and hear that, because that was bonkers for me that y'all were just able to walk in and steal that. So there's so much clip farming that's going to happen from. I've been casting for 13 hours, and there's at least a couple hours worth of clips in there. So. Excited for you guys to go back and see the cast, but massive respect for what y'all were able to do. Respect for the effort. Y'all stayed mentally strong, and looking forward to potentially casting y'all again here sometime in the near future.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks.
Awesome. See you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.